Thanks for being here. Thanks for being here. Finish up these delightful conversations, bustling NPA meeting. I hope everyone had a chance to sign in, obviously introduce yourselves to each other and get some delicious food. You're welcome to Bruce home if there are some. Thanks, Charlie, CTV, for being here. Let's see.
This is Barbara from
The city. And yeah, all Ward 4 and 7 residents, or not all of you, but a lot. To get started, if you've been on the Civic Clerk website, an agenda posted for about a week, and some changes occurred. A new agenda, which is the one that's on the table right now. However, it was not officially until a couple of days ago, so we didn't not officially first. So in lieu of that, we're just gonna confirm this agenda to vote it in so that we can adopt the current agenda that we have here. So that and it also includes kind of taking off one point from our old agenda, which was sharing volunteer opportunities. We're still going to be able to have time to do that during our open forum. So I guess we can start with the removal of the old agenda, which was the only item that was on there was share volunteer opportunities. So I'm just going to ask everybody, those in favor, to add from the agenda tonight. All in favor, you can raise your hand. People raise just a rough amount here. Okay, I got 37 all in favor. Anyone opposed? And I'm seeing none. Anybody abstain? One abstain. Okay, thank you for our notes. I vote to remove that. And then we're voting on two new items. The first from get my proper agenda. Jack Evans informing us about the North Avenue demonstration project, which is the bike lane pilot. So again, all adding that to tonight's agenda, please raise your hand. Okay, I got 38. Oh, 39. And I saw that someone serving desserts. We love it. Anybody opposed adding that to tonight's agenda? Yeah. Okay. Seeing none. Any abstains? 1, 2. 2 abstain. Okay, and we'll add that item to the agenda. The next item is information regarding the free speech to the city council.
Sarah, point of order. Should anyone not a member of 4-7 be allowed to vote?
Good point. No. Yes, thank you for that. This is just a vote for the Ward 4 and 7 residents at the meeting. We love other people from other wards being here, but please, thank you, Mark. Vote in your own ward, of course. But so, all in favor of adding the free speech open to tonight's agenda, please raise your hand. But on this side. $34. We have seen one. And anybody abstain? 2, 3. And with that vote, we will add that to the agenda tonight. So that takes care of adopting the agenda. And now the rest of our welcome, which is just running through our ground rules, just that we take into consideration here, listen to each other, share your opinion politely, and respect the agenda and process. Great. So with that, we'll move on to our, we like to give everybody a chance to introduce themselves, and also talking into the microphone. So I can start, and then, okay. There are some microphones on the tables. I did turn them all off. And just speak clearly, kind of holding it in front of your face like this. My name's Sarah. I use she, they pronouns. I am part of Ward 7 steering committee. So I'm gonna pass it down this way.
Hello, my name is Rachel. I'm part of Ward 7. Nice to be here.
I'm Kathy, I'm in Ward 1, and I'm here on the VCPL open letters.
I'm Debbie, Ward 4, happy to be here. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Joyman King. I use he, him pronouns. I'm a resident of Ward 4.
Hi everyone, I'm Sabrina. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm on board.
Hello, I am Liz and I'm in Ward.
Hi, I use she, her pronouns, and this is Rick. We're from Ward 4.
Dan, Ward 4, I use he, him pronouns.
Karen, Ward 7, she, her.
Rex, Ward 7, he, him.
That's she, her pronoun.
My name's Alex. I'm in Ward 7.
Brittany, she, her, and Ward 4.
Oh, Ward 4. Brian Williams, Ward 7.
The host, Ward 4, and I use she, her pronouns.
So, excuse me, I'm in Ward 4, I use she, her pronouns, and I'm on this for the NPA meetings. So if you hold any kind of position within the city or anything, note that too.
Hi, I'm Dawn Ellis from the field today in our community gardens, which are still bumping produce. I'm thinking about that as VE plus. I'm all over the place to our community. I'm your neighbor, but I'm in various elected positions. I try to do my best to serve and listen to your meetings. And so thank you for your support and be here.
Hi, Martha Mulva, her pronouns, Ward 7.
Linda Looney, or I use she, her pronouns, and I'm on the board of the North End Food Pantry.
Becky Branch, she, her, Ward 4, and I'm on the NPA steering committee.
Hi everybody, Karen, Ward 4, she, they.
Both the people kind of sitting behind me, so.
Hi. Ward 7, she, her.
Pam Picard.
Dave Williams, he, him from Beautiful, Ward 7.
Colleen Goodhue, she, her, the Ward 7. I'm on the board of the Media Factory.
Delaney from Ward 7.
Steve from Ward 4, I'm a crossing guard.
Sal Millichamp, Ward 7, she.
Hi, I'm Lynn. I'm in Ward 4.
I'm Philip Wilson, and I've been in Ward 4 for 1 month.
Bernie Carter, Ward 7, is they, them.
Zach Wilson, and I live in Ward 4.
Carpenter, she, her, and I'm the city councilor from Ward 4.
He, him, Ward 4.
Currently Ward 7, in 3 weeks, I'll be Ward 4.
I'm Jane, she, her, and I live in Ward 4. Amy, she, her, Ward 4, Jane.
Eric, he, him, I live in Ward 4. I was also on the NPA steering committee from 2017 to 20. And since then, I've been serving on the Church Street Marketplace Commission.
Think there anybody else on the edges that want to introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, my name is Duncan, he and pronouns, from Ward 2.
Hi everyone, Ward 7, she, her.
Hi all, Paul Fleck. I live in Ward 2, he, him. Ashley Smith, Ward 7, I use he, him pronouns, and I'm here from the Vermont Coalition for Palestinian.
Hi, everyone. Jack Evans. I'm here from Local Motion.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sarah Morgan, Ward 4, and also here Office of City Planning.
I'm Joanne Hunt, I'm Ward 4, and I'm
Steve Brown on he, him, and steering committee from Ward 7.
Jane McDonald, I use she, her, and I'm on the steering committee. I'm 7, but I'll say it now. Great to see everybody.
This group went, but not since I was out of the room. Evan Litwin pronouns are great for me. Ward 7 city councilor, and that is why I abstained when he was on the agenda.
Excellent. I think if everybody had a chance to, one more person, and then we'll move on to our open.
My name's Gary, and I'm from Ward 4. That's why I knew.
All right, sounds good. You're here. And our next agenda item, now that everyone's comfortable talking into the microphone, open forum. So this is the chance to make any announcements about upcoming volunteer opportunities that you may be involved with, or anything you want to bring to light in this community space. And we try to keep it to about 2 minutes so that we can share. Yeah, seeing one here, one there, and then one over here. So I'll start over here, Linda.
Hi, I'm from the North End, and I just wanted to make an announcement that this Sunday from 10 to 4, clothing drive. So if you have any seasonal items that you no longer wear that are in good shape, love to have them. We also at that time do collect non-perishable food items. Go onto the website, there is a list of suggested items for donation, like etc. Also, there's lots of volunteer opportunities with the North End Food Pantry. And that too, we'd love to have you come and join us. We are there, we distribute food from 9 to 11 on Saturday and 9 to 11 on Sunday. We're also looking for donations. Just so you're aware, in the past 2-3 months, we've seen the number into the pantry needing assistance increase by 100%. Wow. Today we had almost 90 people. Last Sunday we had 67, or averaging 7 each day. The change has been a lot of families, a lot of younger, and a lot of senior citizens. So please keep that in mind. We really, as a community, we can keep it local. We can do something to make a change here.
If you don't know where that is, it's the really bright building on North Avenue.
It's the all out front.
Exactly.
That's how I always say.
So I saw one person over here and then Amy, you.
I think what the sister just said over here underscores of emergency that we're in all across the country. And this is not an accident. It's by the shutdown by the Trump administration. They're laying off hundreds of thousands of workers. They're taking us away from everyone in this country, and they're threatening us with serious danger. Right now, it's not safe to fly in this country. The air traffic controllers are overworked, considering a strike to defend public safety in the airways. So everyone knows the moment we're in, and we have to build a serious national and statewide against the Trump administration. So I'm just here to announce the People's Summit, which is going to be held this Saturday in the Winooski School, where it's sponsored by the Winooski Education Association, of Teachers, the National Education Association, and lots of the political activist groups. And there are lots of people speaking, including the party. Tanya Vahovsky will be on that. We have to get ourselves organized and have to unite against the divide and conquer strategy of the Trump administration, because we have to stand an injury is so we should stand aside against this regime.
And then Lynn, somebody over here. I'm Amy, so you may have noticed there are sticky notes on tables and some flip charts around the room and a list of 4 questions. We'd love your feedback, your favorite parts of the NPA, things you'd like to improve about the NPA, any for future NPA meetings, and then organizations, people that you would like to have here. Just write those on the flip charts. We'd really appreciate it. Thanks.
Hi, I'd like to say thank you. I totally agree with what you said. And I also wanted to say that tonight it was a toss up between here or going to be in Essex, because they're trying to also organize to help us do next. And their discussion was about the big, beautiful, exactly. Another thing, and I just saw this on the questionnaire for that. I want to put a word out for the Intervale. They have been doing an feeding a lot of people, including myself and Steve. But you can vote. And right now, for quite some time, I've seen that Duncan has been asking to help eradicate the invasive species. One thing that I've seen just our state is the burning bush, and that is a very invasive. That is not doing any good for any of our native species of birds. So in the bike path, you can see a lot of invasives just strangling our trees. So if time not to just help with the Intervale, but you can help by doing what you can if anybody lives near or on the bike path or any city to help eradicate those things, any of them. And if you need a list, contact the Intervale or Audubon. There are a lot of places that you can get that information. Thank you.
Thank you. I've got one person. Mark, go ahead. And then if we have time, Steve will be next.
So if you're not busy on Saturday morning, November 1st, and you like pie, you want to go to the Heidelberg Community Senior Center and eat pie. If you're adventurous, bake a pie and donate it. The Heidelberg does not get funded by the city in any way, shape, or form enough to support. You do get enough. Yes, thank you, Sarah. It's not enough, and now it's taking over the catering to people from the old North End, because that facility isn't at all anymore. So this fundraiser is very important, and who doesn't like pie? Every morning, November 1st, come eat some pie.
Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna, yeah, we'll get one more in there.
I'll be very brief, Steve, at Shore Road, and also, the inventor of this, of these t-shirts. I have 3 more left. Sally took one, And, the message, I'm not ready to, I'm ready to dispense with the national insanity and start a society that succeeds at all or not. That's not the most important thing, but I think we speak for it. Bob Hooper was maybe coming later tonight. He said he would introduce if we can show support by January. So if you, I have three, I'll give them away, wear them over a sweater. Some of them are extra large and let's, do I have support from some people for the message of support from the national government? And we could hopefully lead New England, New York, the West Coast and some other states, Michigan and others as well. And if you want a shirt, come see me.
All right. Thank you for that. And you know, place this microphone over here in case y'all need it as we go on. Great updates. I was checking, there's nobody online, right, that needed self. Somebody just popped on, maybe. They want to introduce. So we'll move on in our agenda here. Anybody can us from city planning. Actually, it's gonna be.
Register me on behalf of me.
Okay, on behalf of Kimberly, we will. Morgan, who has shared some information with us before at our NPA meeting to comprehensive plan. And there will be time for questions.
Does anyone else have an announcement?
Any last minute announcements while we have a little 1 minute? Okay. Yeah, so 5 minutes or
I could ask if anyone wants to do food ideas on the little.
future dinner ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Anybody on these little like post-it notes, if you have like something you want to eat for NPA dinner, write it down up there and we'll try and do it for you.
Winter crisp. It's the perfect season for that. Lobster.
Lobster.
Do chili on Halloween, warms you up, you know, especially with the door opening and closing. All right, we got Sarah Morgan from the city. You, whenever you're ready.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, great. Hi, I recognize a lot of you from the last year on Plan BTV New North End, and I am excited to talk to you a little bit about another planning effort, Plan BTV 2050. I am going to note that I originally came here just to talk about Plan BTV 2050, but have some New North End neighborhood plan updates I want to share. I also want to share my email. Just and you know, as we work through a lot of these conversations and a lot of these highlight, you're always welcome to reach out to me about any topics that we cover here tonight. What is our citywide comprehensive plan and Plan BTV 2050? So the state requires any municipalities that have their own ordinance to complete a citywide comprehensive plan. And we last adopted ours 2019 and are excited to really be kicking off a new effort. Now, typically these by the Office of City Planning, there's a multitude of other, and we are really, really excited to have the city's first holistic comprehensive plan that we are embarking on. And so we are working with the Community Development Office, BPRW, Public Works, and us on BTV. So when we've been having a lot of conversations internally about how when about the city, they think of it as kind of like the city. They don't think about it as separate kind of entities. And we want to reflect, we want to have a plan that really reflects how people move around their city and how it's all very interconnected and holistic. A really great opportunity to have this cross-departmental collaboration and some efforts that really speak to So our current planning situation, I guess, better word right now is we have Plan BTV, our kind of comprehensive plan, really here at this overarching. And underneath this, you'll see things like Plan BTV Walk Bike. We've got the Downtown and Water 2013, the Parks Plan from 2015, currently under New North End. We've got the Net Zero Energy Plan and the Open Space Plan, which is currently going an update or a rewrite. And instead, we're thinking this way, thinking about how our current plan can instead have this mobility element, the waterfront element, as well as the economic development element. Of quick things about this, we have the most recent planning efforts highlighted here. New North End currently underway, the open space plan, the South End, which was the neighborhood specific plan that the city worked on, as well as the downtown plan from 2013. So we are currently also we do area-wide and topic one being the historic preservation plan, which will be publicly kicking off. And after this process, there will be more neighborhood plans that are going to be underway. So I'm going to go kind of quickly through these, but this effort is really focused on planning and thinking through how we can really coordinate all of these different efforts and initiatives that happen across the city, and really just think about how we can have a Burlington that is livable, equitable, and dynamic, and really helps just think about our living today and also in the future. The mobility element is intended to coordinate the most recent planning efforts like Walk Bike Plan, as well as our others, and update rails from older plans. You'll see in a few slides thinking about, we have transportation studies, I think from 2011 was the last citywide transportation plan. Has happened since 2011. We also have the North Ave Corridor study, which was last 2015. Say an equally large amount of things have happened since 2015. We also make all of these plans work together. We don't currently have a city development plan. So Plan BTV 2050 at the request of a lot of city council is going to be undergoing the community and economic development study, focusing on how we can think of a new generation of commerce and business support for downtown and the whole city. In terms of Parks and Rec, really how we can update the current planning effort. I think this one from 2015, it was really department as a whole, but we also know that a lot of programming has changed across the city, and a lot of the needs have changed since then. So how can we also review what systems have a good inventory of our park system and really understand how our parks are being used today, create priorities, and think about what future generations are in our parks. So we have some visioning sessions. We just had South End one on Monday evening, and you'll see. I wonder. You might be thinking, I wonder why the New North is quite long. It doesn't look like all these others. That is because we've been undergoing Plan BTV New North End, which I'm going to touch on in a second. But to learn about Plan BTV 2050, this is our website, burlingtonbt.gov, BTV 2050. Definitely recommend checking it out and signing up on our newsletter list. Definitely get on our website and sign up for how to engage with this planning process over the next 14 months. 14 to 18 months. Can I see a show of hands of who here has heard of North End? It gets more and more every time. How exciting. I am talking about this today. I've been talking with from Local Motion Jack a lot about the cones that are on North Ave, and wanted to just some insight on how this relates to Plan BTV New North End. In context, we are really in this end point of phase 2. It relates to what the vision really looks like as part of this neighborhood plan. In November or December, are hoping to have a third scale public meeting about a lot of the recommendations that are going to be covered in this. And just a high level view, this plan has looked at the identity of the New North End, transportation options, balancing growth in green space, and also identifying growth areas. We have strong guiding principles that have been informed by the last 10 months of engagement as a really awesome resident advisory committee. This covers as well as transportation areas, and I wanted to provide a little bit of information about these transportation concepts. So these focus areas are more walkable and potential areas for future development, and areas that have been identified as places where people, what if something different happened here, and what else could this look like? Each one of these, there's not one treatment for everything. And in tandem, looking at different transportation alternatives. So we have different mobility hubs, pedestrian and cyclist network, thinking about the comfort levels of the neighborhood's walkability and bikeability, and also taking modes of transportation, including the bus. I hear a lot about, and as someone who takes the bus, if you do not live on North Ave, it is not a super convenient process to really make that. How can we think creatively about how to make this possible? In terms of our design goals, we have really thought about how North evolved over the course of really the last, I'd say, century ago. In 2015, one thing that this really took into account, was the North Ave scoping study. So what we have on the ground on North Ave today, recommended as part of this 2015 scoping study. However, what has happened since then, we have really wanted to reevaluate what this could look like, and as these kind of guiding principles and design goals, recognizing that Burlington has Burlington's capacity to support more single occupancy vehicle trips is not limited, and focus on how we can move people by modes that are more space and cost effective, like walking, biking, and taking public transit. How can we support North Ave as a transportation corridor to the extent feasible within the way? How can we create and provide and really facilitate cost-effective design, and also recognize that future development along North needs to inform and support its ongoing evolution from a more auto-centric or people-centered Main Street. So envisioning this multimodal North Ave concept, thinking these guiding safety, comfort, and convenience. And really just going into a couple of what this might look like. So we right now have this 2-lane cross section at different roads. And I have our website after this that you can dive more into and provide. But we have these 2 travel lanes, a shared center turn lane, and also these more
That's North Avenue?
Yeah. This is North Avenue, yes.
It is right now?
This is current how it is right now.
What are you gonna change?
Well, so there's some different scenarios on our website. Thank you. I got 2 minutes. I'll fly through this. Scenario 1, kind of what is shown through these cones today. It looks more at having the 2 different lanes on either side of the roadway in both 3-lane and separating that. Another option, area 2, and throughout the engagement on this concept, or throughout the engagement of the last several concepts, folks have really, I think, gravitated a lot more towards this option, which is, and instead of the cyclists and the bike lanes being more in the roadway, shifting and then having a 2-way bike lanes on one specific side of the road. So these are 2 of many, many on our website related to Plan BTV New North End. And one note is we were really excited to see all the creation project done by Local Motion, though it wasn't done necessarily as part of this plan. It's to see a lot of eyes and interest and enthusiasm around safety on North Ave. Bringing it back to why, as part of Plan BTV 2050, we really want to approach these efforts in a more coordinated way across departments and make sure that we are working through this together. So I highly recommend our website, burlingtonvt.gov/planbtv, NNE. We have a really great story map on our project website. Details, I'll be emailing out the date of the third public meeting. This is my email. If you're having any issues providing feedback on the story map, you're welcome to email your thoughts and any considerations there. So thanks.
Sarah. We're running a little tight on our agenda, so I want to encourage folks, if you have any questions about the bike lane stuff specifically, we're having another about that coming up. But if you have any concerns, questions for Sarah, she's very, very fluent in all of the plans. We've heard a lot about, so if everyone's okay with that, we'll move on to our next item.
So we're not gonna get.
Is somebody gonna, sequence of events of how this happened and what that are put up on the other?
So yeah, that's gonna be our next presentation.
Do we get to ask
Questions for that specifically. That's why I'm hoping to direct, if that's where most are, to direct those after the presentation specifically about the bike demo. If specific questions about the comprehensive plan, we can take about that if Sarah wanted to.
I also want to, I would be like mindful of that, to recommend sending me an email about this,
Great.
Miss Morgan at burlingtonvt.gov.
At burlingtonvt.gov. So that's for the comprehensive plans, which the new North End plan, walking bike plan, any other plans.
I just want to put in place, you guys ever thought about emergency vehicles?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so those questions are not to the bike lane demo project. If folks want to get in contact with the city planning about the comprehensive plan and some of the studies that and when the plan started and all those, the questions about the plan BTB, because it sounds like that's where those questions are pointed from.
The reason that we are here is because and how they did it.
There will be a
What
chance.
you're trying to do right now is you're trying to
I'm not.
It ain't gonna happen.
My friends, we're gonna have another presentation, and at the end of that, for questions about everything.
That's why I'm here.
That's why I'm here as well, to let you know that there's a. Thank you. Please stop pointing at me. Didn't like that. I'm gonna.
It's not a comprehensive plan.
Comprehensive plan.
Planning tool. So I really want people to understand that the work of Sarah Planning Office is looking into the future, how to enable things. The city doesn't develop them. Most of the property we're talking about is, so it's really enabling stuff. So I just don't want us to confuse that Sarah is talking about. You need to give her feedback on what we'd like to see. I've had lots of folks think it's all gonna happen tomorrow.
And decisions haven't been made. Planning, this was to inform that these things are coming up. And so that's why there's resources for along on the plans. And I encourage everyone who is engaged, I love this energy, to show up to the city council meetings, which happen every Monday at City Hall. Sarah is there from Ward 4, as is Evan Litwin from Ward 7, representing you. So with that, I'm going to move on to our next agenda item.
No, it's
a comment or
Each of us pass it on and we need to give Evan the time plan.
steering committee member who wanted to chime in, but I want to move on to the agenda. Okay. Real quick. You know, if you have grievances or you have questions or you're not happy about it, what is where is the contact? What is that avenue to funnel those grievances?
I think it was.
Yeah.
Can you repeat your email one more time?
Yeah.
You got.
If there are concerns, grievances, other comments, the more positive or negative related to Plan BTD New North End, the city comprehensive plan, Plan 2050, or envisioning and strategy documents, you can email me at smore@burlingtonvt.gov. And if you are more focused on the current project that's happening and want to provide comment on that, my understanding is that Jack is here and will provide his contact information. Does that provide some clarity there?
Thanks, everybody. We're gonna move on so that we can have our presenters so that we can get to important questions. Okay, take it away, Jack. Thank you.
Yeah, I want to move somewhat get to the community conversation instead of just me spouting stuff, but I do want to go over some information about who I am, what this project is, how it came about. So Jack Evans from Local Motion. Wanted to say
I'm Gordon Dragoon from the council.
So Local Motion is the statewide advocate for walking and biking. We're a nonprofit. We primarily provide technical assistance to local walk bike groups, whether that's advocates, in the Burlington Walk Bike Council's case, a municipal committee. That's how I'm coming to you today. Walk Bike Council wants to receive feedback on the project of protected bike lanes. I want to say at the top, just thank you to everyone who provided positive or negative. It's kind of crazy to have a community-led, mostly volunteer project, over 500 responses to a survey in less than half of the up. Like whether you, and I agree about the project, like the organizer having engaged neighbors and citizens is just super cool. So the project specifically, it is supported by the city by way of the department, but through their community-led demonstration project program. It is a program that the Department of Public Works offers to allow citizens and groups to test different geometries and designs on the roadway. A application process, two-stage application process that involves just the being signed off by the Department of Public Works and the fire department. The design, however, and the project.
That's not true what he just said.
The design and project is fully the walk with technical support from Local Motion.
Please continue. Point of order.
Disrespect.
Thank you. Thank you.
Don't say something that's not true. What he said was totally.
Excuse me, we did agree on our ground rules and we really want to have our presenters interrupted so that we can continue on to the portion where we get to hear from the residents who have evening to be here tonight. So please allow them to finish. Thank you.
Tell the truth.
And listen respectfully. Thank you.
Yeah, so I want to share some information that might help answer some of the questions or heard through the survey. The first is costs. A lot of people worrying about what the city, and I just want to mention, like I said, it's volunteer led. The Walk Bike Council is a volunteer. Local Motion is giving some support, but that is through our budget organization. And other than the admin costs to review the applications and just provide not design guidance, but review the design and just maintain communication throughout the project, does not have much money that they're sinking into this. The posts are the cities, and unfortunately that might at this point cause a cost to be replaced. Otherwise, they were just sitting in a public works yard used for traffic detours during construction or just delineating construction zone is another major concern about how ugly they are. We're not seriously considering orange in any future recommendation. The other main concern is emergency. I mentioned DPW's application process includes outreach to other city departments. Just to add on to that, after the demonstration project went in to Troy Ruggles, who is the fire chief for the city, who said the fire department is in favor of any measures to the safety of our citizens. The current cones could easily be moved or driven over to a loud position. And that Station 4 says the current demonstration project has not yet impeded them. So I just want to mention that as of right now, the emergency response have no complaint or issue with the project. And that is the last thing I'll say before we switch it over to just hearing from the community. So thank you all.
Thank you for that presentation. If you have any feedback, we are hoping to keep questions or feedback to 1 minute so we can hear from as many people as possible tonight. So with that, please raise your hand. I see 2 hands over here. Oh, Annie is also gonna keep stack for this conversation. So if you want to speak, I invite you to raise your hand so that we can keep track of who would like to speak tonight.
And then I'll tell you when it's your turn, and I'll do my very best to write down names in the order that people put their hands up. Please show me your name tag so that I can see it, so that we can make the most use of this time.
Saw a hand up here. Start. 1 here and 1 back there. And please, yeah, sorry, can I have your name? Pam, what's your name? Gary. And in the gray sweater, you had your hand up, right?
Yeah, sorry.
What was your name?
Evan Gould.
And Evan. So those are our first 3 speakers. Thank you.
Sorry.
My biggest concern is emergency response vehicles. Anybody think about UPS, FedEx, trash removal, recycling? You're talking about part of our own city's employees that this is affecting.
And taking time of.
Yeah,
That's
I
a minute if you can to respond.
I'm gonna run a phone over with my car and damage my car to get out of the way.
So far, emergency departments and responders have said that there's enough room within current roadway that they do not foresee an issue with an emergency vehicle trying to get down North Avenue with the space provided. And I would like to take this opportunity to remind everyone that parking in a bike lane is illegal, and although it is common, it should not be an officially endorsed policy from the city or its infrastructure.
Thank you.
Also, a brief that the Casella trucks had no trouble running them over. They
I
ran.
don't believe that. Minutes that they didn't have a problem with it.
Well, they
If
did.
they could run it over, fine, but that's not the solve.
Oh, I more meant they just cruised right down and plowed them all down. They didn't seem to have too much.
I would wish one better.
Seems like if they confirm that they're okay with it, I don't know. I'm gonna move on to the next person who had their hand up. Anybody else that we're keeping track of? Okay, Gary, go ahead.
I'm gonna take my time and it's gonna take a few minutes. What do I do? Just like,
You just speak right into the microphone and you're asking to try to keep it to 1 minute. I'll have a timer set. Thank you.
I'm originally from the South End and I've been out here on the avenue for about 50 years. And when Myro came in, he initiated a project in reference to the North Avenue corridor, which consisted of a bike lane and a safety zone, okay? We went from 4 lanes to 2 lanes. So we got the bike lanes. But now that's not good enough, okay? I'm in the city all day long riding around and I see a lot. But what I don't like is what you are trying to do and accomplish. So you put them up Sunday morning or whatever. I went to the fire station. And a couple of texts came out and I mentioned about the pylons or whatever you call them. They thought it was a detour for the bike path. That's why I said you lied. They knew nothing. So I saw a UPS guy. I go, what are you gonna do? I'm gonna park in place. he's gonna park in the road. So I go to the school to pick up my great grandson. I'm talking to this guy that came down the avenue and a police car came down and the cars didn't know where to go. They were going like this and the cop car was trying to go down like that. You're telling me that's safe? You want to protect the bikers, right? Oh, that's okay, but don't worry about the rest of the people because they don't know. And even the police department, the fire department, the people that I talked to said, people go nuts, you know, the fire siren. Today, I was going down the avenue and the fire truck and the ambulance came out. What are you gonna do when somebody gets hurt? Somebody gets wrecked? I don't get your logic. You got your way, you got your bike path, you got the bike path, and you got the safety zone, okay? The bikers ride in the safety zone. They don't ride in because you know what? They get rained out. Do you think they could ride in the bike lane? No. I got this bike right here. When I get home, Mike from Flint School, my little great grandson wants to go around the park, around the block, right? So I go around the block. The sidewalks are all falling apart and they got breaks in them. And I have to push him because he can't. He's 4 years old.
You want to give them?
You guys are worried about the road, and I got a grandson, and I can't even make a sidewalk. A sidewalk, not the road.
Give them a chance to respond. Give them a chance to respond. Thank you.
50 years I've been in this.
Thank you for your feedback. We're gonna give them a chance to respond with what the plan is for
I'm ready to
having.
move out of Burlington. If you want to know the truth, I'm ready to leave.
Gary, we don't want to have to ask you to leave, but I think we are getting to that point because you're causing a lot of ruckus. I think we hear you, and that's why we gave you a chance. Thank you.
Stop what you're doing. You're
Thank you.
alienating the people.
Gary, we give you a chance to speak respectfully, and we might have to ask you to leave.
I'll leave
Thank
on
you.
my own. I don't need anybody to tell me to leave. I'm sick and tired of this.
Did you have anything to say in response to that, Jack, or should we move on to the next comment?
Let's move on.
Okay. We have, forgetting your name.
Evan.
Evan?
Yes, yeah, and then, does anyone else want to speak? I can take on
We have Mark, Joanne, and
Anyone else?
Sarah Carpenter as well. You said a question. Okay, so we have
Put myself on the list.
Amy. Okay. And Evan, go ahead.
Sweet. Most of my sentiment is positive, so I have to sometimes take North Ave. I live on the west side of the bike path, so it's generally easy for me to take that way, but coming from the old North End, it's a lot easier to use the bike path on North Ave. Generally, at least when I have my son, I don't generally feel safe. People cut me off or crowd in the bike lane or like move forward and then turn. So it's felt a lot better. I'll say that. Yeah, so it's unfortunate when it ends, when you get to Hannaford's, but generally the demonstration project has been good. I do think for like the bus accessibility of the kind of options in the future, the level one with the sidewalks seems like a better idea. But a lot of times with the multi-use paths only, I've had issues with like other people kind of like walking or et cetera. And so there's just a lot of conflict where there doesn't need to be. So it'd be nice if there were a little bit more space. But generally it's been positive. So I've enjoyed the demonstration so far. Thank you.
We appreciate the positive feedback. We're definitely trying to mark down any deficiencies they might have in the demonstration project and trying to provide them to the city should we want to see how this plays out.
My name is Elizabeth and I live on North Avenue and I know the behavior we just saw wasn't appropriate for this meeting, but I will say that is the level of anger I hear from my neighbors about these cones. It's the level of anger that I see on social media or am told about on social media because of these cones. And the idea I think that people are really upset about is that North Avenue has other options other than permanent barriers. Remember, these orange cones that you're talking about, you're planning on putting in, I'm guessing, the white pylons that are down by the start of what. Go ahead, you're shaking your head at me.
This is down without making any noise.
No, not you, him. Sorry, I'm sorry to use him. I can't see your name tag from
Well,
here.
I was gonna let you finish, I
Okay.
have no plan at all.
I just want to say that I do not appreciate the hardcore drive to service only cyclists. I want to see something that allows us to make right-hand turns, that doesn't block up our intersections and our roadways. Right now on the section we've done it, there is no middle turn lane. There's no way to get around someone. We're backing up traffic every time someone tries to make a left-hand turn. I have seen delivery trucks stop in the middle of the road to make their deliveries. If these go permanent, this is going to be one ugly street that we live on. I was very relieved to hear that there might be an option for moving a bike lane to be with the sidewalks. The city does not care about its sidewalks, which means that folks with disabilities cannot travel easily. I want to see North Avenue policed by the cops. I want to see speed traps. I want to see them actually taking some responsibility for the roadways. And I want to see cyclists use the bike path more. I was so happy to hear you say that you do on occasion. Because this is an important thing. We spent millions of dollars on it. Let's get cyclists to a place away from.
Thank you. Thanks for your feedback. I also wanted to invite you guys, thank you, to include any contact information, because I know we probably won't unfortunately have a chance to hear from everybody. But maybe in a feedback, you could just.
Yes, so
Before we get to
if you have not seen the survey, I have some flyers I can distribute that have a link to the survey on them. Other than that, you are welcome to reach me at jack@localmotion.org with any of your concerns or feedback. As for like the next steps or the plan that comes out of this, the Walk by Council is doing this to engage the community and see what really has changed, especially since the Walk Bike Action Plan from 2025 lists North Avenue as a priority corridor. It's number 1 or number 2 priority corridor with the highest rated or second highest rated level of community identified need. And that was not the case with the previous project. So we're just testing something and we're going to make recommendations about what we think the city could do with the road, but like there is no decision power between either of us.
Thanks for that feedback once more. I did want to try to get in like one more comment or question. I know our time is technically up. Annie?
No, I'll abstain.
No. Sorry, are you saying? Oh, are you saying? Who is next in our staff?
Mark, so I'm
Okay.
sorry.
So I think we only have time for one more comment, unfortunately. So that's why I wanted to make sure there was at least somewhere where people could get their information out, get their messaging, because like these two folks said, who are presenting, they are wanting feedback and getting this input because there is no next step for the plan, and they want to try to make the best plan that works for the community that we have here, and probably won't be tomorrow. So we want to hear from you. Mark, go ahead.
So, hello, not on. So I want to differentiate between a short-term plan to educate people, which are the bollards that are being put out now, to sensitize people to the fact that when you ride your bike on North Avenue, you're not safe.
Yeah.
You're absolutely not safe because drivers do not respect the existing bike lane or the safety zone. Okay, they drive through it all the time. Without the bollards, they don't respect it. Number 2, there's no stronger argument than what Gary just said for Sarah Morgan's plan to put the bike and pedestrian paths on the side of the road, not in the road. And if you didn't see that before, you see it now. So by all means, send that support to them. The problem is that's expensive. It's going to take years. So we need a short-term solution because we don't want someone to die killed by a police car like happened on Shelburne Road.
Yep.
Thank you. I think that we are out of time. confirming. Yes, we got the sign, to leave room for our next agenda items. Did you guys have any parting words?
I just wanted to say thank you all for showing up and speaking for those of you who did. And yeah, definitely share that survey as much as you can. I don't think we need to stop at 500.
You said you had flyers at the front or?
Yeah, I will drop the flyers off at maybe the.
At that welcome desk would be great. Yeah, we have some literature up there about the NPAs and stuff. So thanks, guys. Thanks all. And with that, I want to invite the next couple folks up to give us some information about the free speech open letter to the city council.
Thank you so much. We have some slides prepared for this segment, so thank you so much, Barbara. Hi, everybody. My name is Joy Ming, Human Pronouns. We're 4 resident, social studies teacher at Hunt Middle School. I wish my students got to see the kind of civil discourse and the challenging norm that we set for civil discourse, because there are some teachable moments here. But this is what we're here to talk about tonight, is the role of democracy in dealing with controversy. Exactly. Because that is the work of democracy, is to practice civil discourse and resolving issues that may be controversial. And we're here tonight to talk about something called the Apartheid-Free Community Pledge. We're gonna take some time to explain what that is, where it came from. You'll see, I think, some of the information about it and the open letter that's associated with it is getting passed along now, so you can refer to that as we go along. And we will leave a good chunk of time, 10-15 minutes for questions. So please wait for that to share your thoughts, and we'd love to hear your feedback. Can we go to the next slide? So we'll talk about what Israeli apartheid is, and this is the subject of the pledge. We'll talk about what local efforts have looked like around this pledge, what next steps we would like us as community members and as a neighborhood planning assembly to take, and then have the Q&A. Next slide, please. So apartheid, it's a word that means separateness in Afrikaans because it originally described a system of racial segregation that took place in South Africa for decades. Most of us are familiar with that. It ended with the election of Nelson Mandela in the 90s. Many Vermonters actually were involved in that global movement to end apartheid. And it's since been expanded to be included as part of international law. So this is a strictly defined legal concept that was enshrined in the Rome Statute, first in 1998, later, I think also in 2002, they had an updated version, but really it consists of 3 main elements. We know it's apartheid when we see an intent to maintain domination of one racial group over another. We know that it's apartheid when it also takes place in a context of systematic oppression by one racial group over another. And when these plans and these intentions are put in place through inhuman acts. And so it's important when we think about this issue, not to be easily swayed by narratives that this is an age-old dispute between 2 ancient religions or something that's been going on for thousands of years. This is not what that's about. This is a strictly defined legal concept that has been found documented to be existing and occurring in a place right now. Next slide, please. So when we talk about apartheid as it exists in Israel or Palestine today, we see 4 strategies that have been deployed by the government of Israel to create these apartheid conditions and impose them on Palestinians. The first one, you can click the next one, is dispossession. We've seen decades of discriminatory land and property seizures, home demolitions, and forced evictions. The next one is segregation, a system of laws and policies that keep Palestinians restricted to enclaves, or what in South Africa were called Bantustans, subject to several measures that control their lives and segregated sometimes with huge physical walls from Jewish Israelis. The third one is deprivation, the deliberate impoverishment of Palestinian people, for example, by keeping them at a greater disadvantage in comparison to Jewish Israelis. One example is the very low rates of permits for building all kinds of infrastructure given to Palestinians, as opposed to almost 100% approval rate for Jewish Israeli settlers in the West Bank. The fourth one is fragmentation, keeping Palestinians separated from each other into distinct territorial, legal, and administrative domains. We haven't even talked about here the imposition of military rule over large areas of the West Bank, where civil rights are suspended, meaning no rights to protest, no rights to gather with your neighborhood planning assembly to talk about the merits of bus or bike lanes, no civil rights. Next slide, please. Not going to get into detail about this right now, but there are tons of information online that you can find. One resource that I found very helpful is called Visualizing Palestine. It's a project that's been done in collaboration with Human Rights Watch, an international human rights organization. Some of these are examples that I referred to. Movement restrictions are a big one. They make a 30-minute commute last 2 or 3 hours because of multiple checkpoints that serve as actually violations of your civil rights. Surveillance, searches, seizures without reason or just cause. Land confiscation we've talked about. There's a really well-known documentary now that won the Oscar Best Documentary last year called No Other Land. It was created by an Israeli journalist and a Palestinian activist about land confiscation in the village of Masafer Yatta in the occupied West Bank. Forcible transfer of land, denial of residency rights, suspension of civil rights, we just talked about. So I can't get into this right now, but there's a lot more to learn about. The next slide, I think, will show you the poster for No Other Land, which, by the way, just became available on Apple TV. So Apple TV, check it out. One example that I will get into just a little bit more to illustrate apartheid, to show that it's not just one group of people being mean and saying mean things to some other group of people. It's a system created by design, and it's so deep that it involves water supply, okay? So, for example, in Ramallah, Palestine, in the West Bank, there is an aquifer that provides water for the region, but disproportionately, most of the water is channeled towards Israeli settlers' homes. It's too small for folks to see, but it tells you the World Health Organization recommendation of how much water should be used by each person per day to maintain a dignified standard of living, and it's 100 liters per day. We see that Israeli settlements enjoy 300 liters per day, whereas Palestinians in the West Bank have 70 liters per day. And that's not to talk about Gaza, where we've seen, almost no water per day being used by people, maybe a few liters per day during the genocide. So can we go to the next slide? So don't just listen to me about this. There are many reputable authorities that have spoken about this. If you click through the next few clicks, we'll see some of these organizations, including the United Nations Human Rights Office, Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, International Federation for Human Rights, 2 Israeli human rights organizations, Yesh Din and B'Tselem, and President Jimmy Carter himself wrote a book calling what is happening in Israel apartheid, specifically to be technical and fact-based about what is going on there. Next slide, please. Oh, and as I mentioned at the start, it's a legal concept. And so the International Criminal Court, the highest court of the world, ruled in 2024 that Israel is responsible for the crime of apartheid. And the statute obligates all states to do everything possible in their power to prevent the commission of apartheid. Next slide, please. So who's paying for it, right? This is all stuff happening far away, got nothing to do with our bike lanes and our bad sidewalks. Unfortunately, it's not true. It does have something to do with us because US taxpayers are the primary source of funds for Israel's regime of apartheid and now genocide. The US Campaign for Palestinian Rights has a handy tool that allows you to search up your town or your state, and it calculates based on 2024 data for how much US military aid is going to Israel, dividing that by taxpayers. In Burlington, almost $3 million just in 1 year was sent to provide Israel with weapons. And that can be used instead to, for example, fund households with 1 month's free rent. That's 1,855 households. Elementary school teacher salaries for 1 year, 32 of them. Many other examples there. The next button will find data for all of Vermont, close to $30 million just in 2024 sent from Vermont taxpayers to fund these crimes against humanity. Next slide, please. So unfortunately, because of the technical difficulties tonight, we're not able to show this video. This is a quick 2-minute video that was produced last year to illustrate some of these connections. I encourage you to check it out on our website, the link which will show later. Okay, at this point, I'm going to turn it over to my friend Duncan, who's going to elaborate on what the local efforts organizing around this has been. Sure. Thanks.
Hi, everyone. My name is Duncan Krebs. I'm a Ward 2 resident, and I appreciate you welcoming me to your NPA meeting tonight to talk about something that I and many Vermonters really care about. So if we can jump to the next slide. Joy did a great job of kind of talking about sort of the conditions which exist right now, and then sort of make that connection to kind of where we are, and I'm going to do that a little bit more. So kind of to start, we are both members of a campaign in Burlington as a part of the Vermont Coalition for Palestinian Liberation, which is this group with a number of member organizations and hundreds of Vermonters kind of all across the state voting towards a free Palestine. If we could jump to the next slide, please. Thank you. So there's a number again that Joy shared, $27.6 million left Vermont to go to Israel to commit the genocide that we've seen kind of carry out on our TV screens, phone screens, tablets, things that could go to our sidewalks, other problems here that we all see on a day-to-day basis. Kind of other ways that we see these issues connect here. A lot of us I'm sure remember in 2023, 3 Palestinian students were in Burlington, and they were shot. Kind of showing a blatant, I don't know, instance of violence that came to home here. And kind of even more broad than that, kind of systems of violence and oppression anywhere in the world always come back to where we are here, especially when the US is kind of directly perpetuating them. And also the context is like Vermont, part of, I think the reason why so many of us love it is how empathetic we are, how caring we are. And I think kind of an historical parallel with apartheid South Africa, sort of 30 years ago, a global movement really helped to free Republicans, and Vermont had a big role in that with many people stepping up and support. So next slide, please. So great. So kind of our specific movement here is that we're talking about is the Apartheid Free Community Pledge. So AFC for short was started by the American Friends Service Committee in 2022, kind of based on learnings from South African apartheid movement. And currently worldwide, there are 880 groups that have signed this pledge. So the pledge states, we affirm our commitment to freedom, justice, and equality for the Palestinian people and all people. We oppose all forms of racism, bigotry, discrimination, and oppression, and we declare ourselves an apartheid-free community. And to that end, we pledge to join others in working to end all support to Israel's apartheid regime, settler colonialism, and military occupation. We can jump to the next slide. Perfect. Yeah, you can just kind of click this would be great. So far, we've been bringing AFC throughout Vermont. 50 plus Vermont businesses, organizations, unions have signed on. You can see the list in those truckles that are passed around and also on the right here. Furthermore, 9 Vermont towns put the AFC kind of advisory question on their ballot in 2024, 5 of which won. So Winooski, Brattleboro, Newfane, Thetford, and Plainfield all voted to become apartheid-free communities. Which is a great win, but it's not enough. And we have plenty of campaigns happening all across the state to continue to spread AFC. Jump to the next slide, please. Great, and then you can skip 2 more as well. Perfect. So kind of a little bit of background. So in Burlington, according to our city charter, we have advisory questions. And as a citizen organization, if you collect the signatures of 5% of the voting population, then you can put a question on the ballot. So what BCPL sought out to do is collect the signatures of 5% of the population to put AFC on the ballot, so the people of Burlington can vote
become an apartheid-free community themselves, exercise their democratic right. If we can jump to the next slide. Go ahead. Yeah, perfect. So 2 years in a row, in 2023, and then in 2024, we collected the necessary number of signatures to put AFC on the ballot. As it was done in those 9 other Vermont towns, a relatively straightforward process. But both those years, the Democrats on the city council voted to block AFC from going on the ballot, not allowing people of Burlington to have their say. It's a democratic process. We want to let the people decide, and that was denied. Kind of since then, what's happened? Again, there's 5 towns have gone through the process, adopted the AFC pledge, and joined the movement. A number of Vermont politicians, including Senator Bernie Sanders, Peter Welch, Rebecca Balin, have all termed what's happened in Israel a genocide. And furthermore, the Burlington City Council unanimously passed a free speech resolution guaranteeing the rights to free speech about Palestine, naming Palestine specifically. So the question is, are these all things all true? How are we a city that values free speech even when it comes to Palestine, but we're not allowing the people of Burlington to have their say? So what you have here in front of you is an open letter to the mayor and to the city councilors saying Democrats and city council have blocked the AFC pledge advisory question from going to voters for 2 years in a row, despite thousands of Burlington residents signing petitions to put the pledge on the ballot. In April of 2025, the council unanimously approved a resolution for protecting free speech on Palestine, and it is time to rectify the fact that our free speech rights have been repeatedly denied. There should be a democratic vote on adopting the pledge. That is the demand. Let democracy take place. Let the people of Burlington vote. Yeah, so I'm going to talk through some next steps. I'm going to pass things back to Joy, but thanks again for having me on. As we quit here, because I want to hear from all of you too, but here are the suggested next steps that we would like you to consider. Neighborhood planning assemblies can vote and pass resolutions that get forwarded up to city councilors. So we're asking this neighborhood planning assembly to write and pass a resolution that endorses this open letter that calls on city councilors to respect democracy and let voters vote on this issue. What you all can do as individuals is to sign this open letter and put your name to it, adding your support to this movement, contacting city councilors. We have 2 with us tonight, although I think maybe Councilor Litwin stepped out. I don't know if he's still here. Inform your community about apartheid-free community and share it on Front Porch Forum. And please volunteer with us. We're an all-volunteer organization, and we need a lot of help. So with that, I'd like to open it up for any questions or comments.
I'm seeing one right here. So Mark, you'll start us off. And anybody else who has a question or comment, just raise your hand and we'll get you on the stack.
I think this microphone works. I totally support your right to free speech. I have problems with some of your facts. What you've left out is that in Gaza, Palestinians were represented by a government sponsored by Hamas, in whose charter is actual genocidal plans for every Jew in the Middle East. That's a fact, Jack. Did someone say it was untrue?
Yes,
it is true. Hamas wants all Jews dead. Period. Anti-Zionism is the new anti-Semitism. And what you have to keep in your mind is 2 ideas. One, that the organization B'Tselem Elohim, in Hebrew, that means that every human being is created in the image of God. I support that. Totally support that. There are indeed innocent Palestinians, but you can't count Hamas in that number. Just this week, hundreds of Palestinian Gazans were killed by Hamas because they're welcoming what Israel is now doing. When you have the chart up with the little blue lines underneath it talking about the water aquifer, the reason construction materials don't go into Gaza is because the construction materials were used to create tunnels under hospitals, under schools. The fat cat Hamas leaders were eating great food in Qatar, and the innocent people who look for simplistic ideas and simplistic solutions are brainwashed by Hamas. And they voted them in as their government. There is no democracy in an Arab land. None. Is that what you want to support? If you support free speech and you support democracy, you do not support the current leadership of Palestinians. They need to come to the table in good faith, in peace. They need to lay down their weapons. I'm not a great supporter of Trump, but his 20-point plan makes more sense than anything that has been sent to that area in 40 years.
Thanks for that. Yeah, you have feedback.
So I want to say three things. One, we are not here to defend or justify Hamas. We do not defend or justify Hamas.
Thank God.
We are here to urge you not to fund and justify apartheid, because nothing can justify apartheid. Nothing can justify genocide. And here I'm referencing something from Ta-Nehisi Coates, who put this forward very clearly in his book. So nothing can justify apartheid, nothing can justify genocide, and we're asking you to take steps to show that you don't want your tax dollars going to fund these atrocities and crimes against humanity. The infographic was for the West Bank.
Okay, thanks. I have two folks on the stack, and then Daniel will be third in line.
Yeah, I think that we shouldn't get the issues confused. Let's be clear, what we've witnessed over the last 2 years. The low estimates, official estimates, are 65 to 70,000 killed.
58,000 were Hamas combatants. 7,000 people would have died in the last 2 years from that response.
There have been more bombs dropped on Gaza than Hamburg, London, and Dresden combined in the last 2 years. Gaza has been turned into rubble. Kids have been killed. Women have been killed. Israeli snipers have deliberately targeted and murdered children. We've all seen this on the screens. This is not an accident. This is a result of a long plan of Israeli settler colonialism that of the 20th century escalated in the mid part of the 20th century and is now in third gear, led by the far right in Israel to colonize the Palestinian people. To carry that out requires occupation, apartheid, and over the last 2 years, genocide. And if you listen to Jewish leaders who just issued a statement globally, 50 Jewish leaders, they a statement. These include Eve Engler, now known as V, Eric Andrea, South African novelist, Damon Galgood, Oscar-winning journalist, documentarian Yuval Abraham, Tony Israeli philosopher Oren Bloom. Our solidarity with Palestinians is not a betrayal of Judaism, then of it. Our sages taught us to destroy one life is to destroy the entire world. They did not carve out exceptions for Palestinians. We shall not rest until the ceasefire carries forward to an end of the occupation and apartheid. Those are the Jewish leaders we should look to guidance, because they know what genocide looks like, what occupation looks like, what apartheid looks like.
2 minutes.
This is now a consensus. Burlington should not be exception. And the key thing is we should have a democracy here, which is under.
Your 2 minutes. Thank you.
We should have the right to vote in this city on this question.
Thank you. There are other people. I just want to remind everyone, we're hoping 2 minutes. I will give you a warning, and we are hoping we agreed that we will offer people uninterrupted minutes. So please keep your comments to yourself when someone else is speaking. Thank you.
Thank you.
Should be all.
Yeah. I wanted to say that the thing that is, sorry. Yeah.
This one's their questions.
I thank you for the presentation. I thought it was completely compelling. And as you said, as you pointed out, based on not just your own ideas and not just propaganda, but well-established world experts on humanitarianism and crimes against humanity. You went to the sources. What I'd like you to do is just reiterate again what it is you're asking of the NPA, and what it is that individuals can do, because it seems to me that those are two distinct things that is important for everybody to separate as they leave.
Thank you.
I'm not going to use my
Thank
full
you.
2 minutes.
Thanks for inviting me to clarify. So we're asking the Neighborhood Planning Assembly to draft and pass a resolution to call on city councilors to let us vote on this issue. We want to, everyone should have a chance to express their opinion on this issue and talk it out in democratic debate. Sweeping it under the rug is not going to make it go away. It's been 2 years now. Democracy should prevail. That's the basic principle. And then individually, we encourage you to share about this on Front Porch Forum, on social media, add your name to our open letter to call on city councilors to let us vote, and contact them directly. And I'd like to just offer City Councilor Sarah Carpenter, since you're here tonight and you've heard this, can you offer a response here? You voted down this resolution last year. Can you let the people have a vote on this and let democracy prevail?
I could offer. Dan, is that okay? You were next on the stack, so I just wanted to make sure before, just in case. Thanks, Sarah.
Thanks. This was a surprise presentation for many. Before the NPA, I think, considers anything, I would encourage us to have a full forum. There are other groups who have ideas about how to get to peace. Whether this is the best statement, I don't know. There's, in my opinion, some unanswered questions. A number of us tried to get to yes on a resolution that was different than this and did not get much traction. So I have not been approached in a holistic group way to see if there's a resolution we could all, at least the city councils, can agree on. I think it's important fact to know that city council is not required to put things on the ballot. So the question becomes, is the town meeting day ballot the forum to discuss world atrocities? And we've got plenty, and this is an atrocity, but we have so many atrocities. Is our ballot on town meeting day the way to express them? Or is there other ways to express them? And we should think meaningfully. For me, the town meeting day ballot has been around issues of governance. How do we govern the city? What changes in governance? I can sign a better part of the pledge, but I'm not sure in terms of how I govern, what would I do differently? Am I supposed to boycott Israel if this passed? So there's a lot of unanswered questions around if the city signs the pledge, how do we implement it? And I think in terms of the free speech resolution, and I encourage you all to read that, that was a statement that yes, we need more free speech and forums to do it. But I am not at all convinced that a town meeting day ballot is the best way to do it, because it's very singular. It asks you to do one thing, but doesn't discuss another alternate option. And I would love to have that discussion of, what goes on a ballot, what doesn't go on a ballot. Can we get to a resolution that we all fully support and understand the impact of?
Okay. Thank you. Thanks for that surprise response. Oh, there it is. Woo! Thanks for that response being here. I also wanted to honor Dan's as the next person with a question or comment. And we are reaching our 8 o'clock hour, so I maybe will make a motion to stay for 5 more minutes of discussion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, and all in favor of that motion? And there's people, like, probably 25 at least. Anybody opposed to that? And anybody abstain? Probably one. I see Evan in the back, so we'll make it two. Okay, so Dan, go ahead.
Well, yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
Very briefly, yeah, I just want to say thank you for all the organizing you're doing, fully support everything you're doing. Plan on signing this. And that's all. You can go to the next speaker.
Great. I do have two more people who are interested in commenting. So Sal and then Kathy.
I want to vote on this. I've signed so many things that people have brought to me on Church Street. People want to vote on this. I don't think it's asking anything to put it on the ballot and let people vote on it. They don't have to vote for it. Let people vote for it.
Yep.
And Sarah, I know you've lived here all your life, but I've only lived here 30-something years. But there have been many questions that have come before this city for us to vote on that were not to do with just local issues.
Yep.
And I think this is one of those. These are our tax dollars. They were my three direct neighbors who were shot. And it is a local issue.
Sorry, I just said the particular requirement on this ballot will have to be expressed.
Point of order, yes. Annie, you're next.
Thanks.
Sorry, I just get distracted. Thank you, Kathy. And you were upset.
Similar to what Kathy said, you guys on city council can correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought that in 2011 or 2012, the city passed a resolution condemning Citizens United. I think that's a specific example I can think of. People can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe in Burlington, we have used town meeting day ballot to express a sentiment of the community to say we are in favor of something or we are not in favor of something, that we cannot directly weigh in with our vote, but we can say as a community, we support or we do not. And I believe Citizens United is a specific one I can point to.
Thank you. I think we've got one more so far. I think what's over.
Yeah, this is definitely a local issue. I mean, the reason why we don't have Medicare for all, the reason why we, have, wages that are not keeping up with the cost of living, we don't have housing for all, right? We have a problem of homelessness on Church Street is precisely because we have 800 military bases around the world. And that is a bipartisan project of the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. And the Democrats have spent, the last almost decade telling us about, the threat of Trump, the threat of MAGA, of which you've done very little. And, now you're obstructing the democratic process. You have denied our ability to vote on this for 2 years into a genocide. And I take that very personally. It's not okay. It's not cool. It's not your job. It's way out of line. And we deserve the right to vote on where our taxpayer dollars go. I do not want my money going to genocide. I do not want my money going to apartheid. I want my money, who's with me, to go to housing, healthcare, and social services. That's where I want my money to go. I want to thrive. I want to have a good future. I want my kids to have a good future. I want to invest in our environment. I do not want money being spent on bombs that are going to blow up and kill innocent people. And that is what you are obstructing. You're obstructing the will of the people of this town. A global consensus is opposed to this genocide. You are way out of line, Sarah. Get on board. I'm encouraging everyone here to sign this pledge. I'm encouraging this neighborhood to get organized and to pass a resolution that says, hey, we still have somewhat of a democracy and we'd like to use it. And we'd like these Democrats to get out of the way.
That does conclude our extra 5 minutes.
Before we close, can I offer the same opportunity to Councilor Litwin because Councilor Carpenter had a response earlier. This is directly addressed to you, this open letter. So do you have a quick response for us? Will you let the democracy prevail here?
If you're interested.
To say, if he has a microphone.
Yeah, it's a consent moment, so it's up to you.
I know you guys are unnamed.
Counselor,
I had to step out for a few minutes, and so I felt like I missed some of the conversation. I did hear what Councilor Carpenter had to say. I'll try to respond to a couple things that I heard. I might not have heard everything. One is your tax dollars that you're talking about are your federal tax dollars. Your city tax dollars, your municipal tax dollars are not paying for genocide. Okay? That is not what's happening. We've got control of about $10 million when we are creating the municipal budget. The rest is the school budget, pension, debt payments. Additionally, this is the same language that's been presented multiple times and has been voted down multiple times by the same people. There's been no effort to reach out to local Democratic colleagues to find out what are the concerns, what type of conversation can we have, what are your questions about the language. I see you nodding your head. You asked for my opinion. I'm happy to give it. But ultimately, I do not see how this is going to help Burlington be governed better, as Councilor Carpenter said, nor do I fully understand what this will do for municipal governance. Now, yes, local issues are local issues, right? So I do appreciate that. But one of the things I have seen is a strong uptick in anti-Semitic graffiti, which hasn't been talked about tonight. And I visited homes where Jew was spray painted outside of people's homes. So we need to hold both truths in this community as well. I would rather us be focused on, as city councilors, the municipal issues that we need to, spend our time working on, which is housing, which is the budget, which is trying to get keep many of the programs running that we're trying to keep running. So I'd be happy to have a conversation. I've never been outreached to, so an open letter is kind of surprising. I've never received an email from anyone. So you're saying no, but the truth is, I have not received an email from anybody. I'm happy to end there, but it's going to be difficult for me to support anything that really I don't have any control over in terms of the job that I signed up to do. I did not run on a foreign policy platform.
Let us vote.
So
Thank you for responding, Evan, as you were asked. Appreciate that extension, and thank you as well, Councilor Carpenter, for your feedback. And thanks for that presentation. Thanks everybody for staying. I'm gonna motion to adjourn this meeting. Oh wait.
Give an update about the lack of update for the next meeting date.
Yes, an update about the lack of update. We love it.
This is community.
Because on our original agenda, we had announced a December 10th date for our next meeting, with November, the 4th Wednesday of November and the 4th Wednesday of December are really hard Wednesdays to plan for. And so we were hoping to shift our meeting to Wednesday, December 10th. However, our awesome Charlie from CCTV is already at another ward that night. So with that information, we may shift that date to potentially the following Wednesday, or maybe not a Wednesday.
Sooner, or maybe sooner.
Or maybe sooner. This is what the steering committee does. We try to figure out how to get as many people here, with also sort of just the city's availability, Charlie's availability, Barbara's availability. And yes, you can definitely say something.
So the other thing I just want to add is this month was particularly challenging.
Give her a microphone.
Here, I need to give you a microphone. This is important. Thank you, Joanne.
And we need to communicate this better. So the steering committee meets the first Wednesday of the month. And that's when we try to set the agenda. This month, we set up some stuff and then they fell through, and then we had nothing. And then like 2 weeks ago, we had too many things. So it's just important for people to know, if you want to present, there's a form on the city website that's an official request. It's also helpful, but you don't have to, because we're aware things come up. But if you can do it before the first Wednesday of the month, it's also extremely helpful. And I'm sure not everybody knows that. It's really important if you're gonna try to fit it in, like, it's gotta be at least a week ahead of time, because we need to post the agenda, because there are public meeting laws, and, you know, it's not, we just can't do whatever we want. It's an equity. And we can do a better job of commuting that, and we'll try to do that. But mostly, I just really appreciate this meeting's been great, and everybody's been really involved. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Joanne. That form that she's talking about is on the end of your agenda. So if you want to present, or you know someone who wants to present, that link is listed on there. I'm pretty sure, confirm with me.
Yes.
Anybody nodding your head? Okay, great. So it's in print. If you don't want to go on a screen, which I understand, screens are really hard. It's right there in ink. Check it out. And now we can motion to adjourn and see you soon. We don't know when, but soon.
Thank you.